Hi, Eric Wilson here, 30-year independent licensed mechanic. In the next short while, I'm going to show you the inside story on this 2008 Suzuki Vitara so you can make yourself an informed decision. Now, coming in on the front left tire, you got about 40% tread on all season radios, down but definitely not out. Coming behind the front left tire, this is the left outer tie rod, and that is tight critical. It's the only thing that holds the wheel to the steering. This is the left outer CV boot. Now, this is full of grease. If it was ripped, you see grease all over the place. Important not to, because it keeps the axle lubricated. Now, this is the inner CV boot. See for yourself, good and dry. Let's see, on brakes, you've got about 20,000 K left on your front brakes. This is the left lower ball joint. Again, critical because it holds the wheel to the chassis. It is tight. This here is from here up to there is the sway bar link on the left, and it's important to be connected because it dampens the sway when you go around a corner. Now, coming underneath they're looking for oil leaks. This is the bottom of the transmission, and I don't see, and that's good and dry. On your bottom of your motor, you got a bit of seepage here, but not an active leak that I can see. So yeah, a little bit of an oil leak there. Now coming across to now this right here is your catalytic converter, and there's nothing wrong with it. Big problem is that people are reaching down there and going cut, and you've got yourself about $1,000 repair. And so if you buy this vehicle, all you have to do is come back to me, because I'm going to put a free catalytic theft protection system on it, and that's not going to happen. That's if you buy. Now, coming across to the right front tire, you've got about 40% tread on all season radios. Coming behind, the right lower ball joint is tight. The brakes about 20,000 K. Outer CV boot, good and dry. The sway bar link connected from there to there. Inner CV boot connected. It's good and dry. The outer right tie rod is tight, and the lower ball joint is tight. So brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, I'm not seeing anything of concern on the front right or left. A little bit of a sweat on the bottom of the motor, but with that many K to be expected. Now, on the left rear tire, about 30% tread, a little less on the rear than you have on the front, down but definitely not out. Coming behind the front, the rear left tire, this is the rear shock. You know, it's full of oil. If it was leaking, you see it dripping all the way down here, good and dry. Left rear suspension intact, no cracks, no breaks. The left outer CV boot, good and dry. Left inner CV boot, good and dry. Bottom of the diff, no leaks, and this would be a leak point right there. So that's good. That's leak free. Now on the right rear tire, about 30% tread on all season radios, and on your right rear shock, this is good and dry. If it was leaking, you see it leaking here. Your rear right suspension intact. Your outer CV boot, a little harder to see. Going to say, okay, your outer CV boot on the right, good and dry. The inner CV boot on the right, good and dry. So brake-wise, leak-wise, suspension-wise, I'm not seeing anything of concern on the rear. Now, this is the left front strut, and they're full of oil, just like the shocks. And if it was leaking, you see it leaking all the way down here, and that's good and dry. The left spring suspension intact, no cracks, no breaks. The right spring suspension, same thing. They're full of oil. If it was leaking, you see it right here. And your right spring suspension intact, no cracks, no breaks. So that is intact and doing its job as well. Okay, you get a crack in the windshield. Definitely going to want to think about changing up your windshield there. Oh. Now, 3009, 793 K, and no check engine lights that I can see. Nice dash, looking nice and clean. Okay, now I'll take you out and show you the condition of the motor. Okay, with the motor running. Shot of the motor shot of the exhaust from the motor running. Very clean. Now, one thing I always do is I take off the oil cap and I take a look underneath there for any indication of white goo. Now, which would be a mixture of oil and antifreeze, and I don't see any indication of that on this motor. In fact, as far as I can tell, I can't hear anything of any real concern. No out of ordinary noises. Definitely high K, but as far as I can tell, has been well maintained. Anyway, hopefully this will help you make an informed decision. And one more thing that I forgot to mention as well. The back brakes have got about 20,000 K as well. And so brake-wise, you're doing not too shabby. Definitely need a windshield. And other than that, I don't see any major issues. So hopefully this will help you make an informed decision. And remember, if you buy the vehicle, come back to me. In 20 minutes, I'll put the catalytic theft protection system on there. You'll be out the door, and a free 10% fuel saving device that I've used for 20 years, and it never ever fails. And that is free, my friend, just if you buy. Have a good one, and hope this helps.